about freaking time. I have been waiting here, worried, sick. What do you have to say for yourself, young man? I'm practicing for when Lucas becomes a teenager.
That's how you're gonna talk to him? Damn. White people. My
Oh
computer
man.
decided to update earlier, I guess. So like it was restarting and opening everything.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's
It
annoying.
happens.
It's
It
annoying.
happens. It is. I mean, but I'm happy that at least on computers I get a lot of options that allow me to optimize my experience and tailor it to my likes and dislikes. Unlike consoles who sit there and like, no, you're gonna have this 30 frames, even though we could give you more frames by allowing you to turn something off or on or scale certain qualities up or down. Nope, you're stuck at lame 30 frames. Sorry, first world problems, which is great because we're gonna get into some potentially spicy topics today with things like the strikes going on in Hollywood and some recent comments made allegedly made by some studio person. Yeah, should be fun. With that, hello everybody, welcome to the Daily Cup of Genre here on the damn it cat on the Genreverse YouTube channel and Genreverse podcast network, available on all your favorite podcast apps. Give us a follow on that app that you're listening on. If you're watching us on YouTube, please do subscribe, leave thumbs up, comments down if you gotta. Let us know what it is that we are doing well or doing poorly. If it's the opinions, sorry, that's like the one thing that's not likely going to change much is crap opinions. I'm Kyle, that's Manny, and yeah, we're 3 for 3 this week, man. Don't wanna what's the word? Not curse, jinx it, but you know, I am pretty happy that we're 3 for 3. I got a couple of trailers that I wanted to discuss, but I do want to talk about something you wrote on, covering a piece from Variety dealing with the writer's strike. And the reason why I wanted to discuss this in particular, whoops, I forgot to put the browser thing up. No, I did that earlier. Did I restart for some reason? Anyways, the reason why I wanted to start with this is it's something that I've been saying for a while, and this is, again, not me taking the studio side or not taking the writer's side. This is a third-party observer looking at the battlefield, and the battlefield is, you know, these things that the writers want and the studios don't want to give, right? I've said since before this kind of started, and definitely ever since it started, that this is a war of attrition. That the studios, for the moment, have the upper hand. They have a lot of back catalogs. They have a lot of things to get revenue from back catalog. Some of them have theme parks, licensing deals. There's streaming services, sports broadcasts, news broadcasts, like video games, clothing line, all that would be merch, but all sorts of little things that studios can get their fingers in to bring themselves money. And I mentioned how, you know, most writers are not like what is it, Marcus McFeely and Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, I think is their names, guys that wrote on like the Marvel films and things like that. Not everyone is a writer like that, a film TV writer like that. Most of them they need to be constantly working, and they're not necessarily the proud owners of good residual contracts from huge successful movies that get played all over the place. Most of them need constant work. Similar when actors go on strike, you know, it's not going to hurt Robert Downey Jr. any, but it's going to hurt the guy that's been playing dude number 2 at the party for the last 2 years, trying to work their way up. with that being said, we hear, and I'll let you talk about your piece, but we hear exactly what I'm saying, that the studios are like, we can wait. Can they? Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you wrote about from Variety yesterday, Manny?
Yeah, so it's interesting because they broke the story and everything, but I had heard it from other sources earlier in the day. Basically, they're not really interested in going back to the table to talk with WGA, that's the Writers Guild, until October, because they can survive. They can afford to not negotiate and wait them out so that they can concede to certain things that they want. But it really becomes a spotlight because of how much of how quickly they need to, or the anxiety and the desperation to get a deal with the Actors Guild, to the point where they want to get the great amazing federal government involved. You have Iger, Zaslav, and Netflix top executives all crying to the government, saying that we need help, we need to get a deal done before the deadline, which is tonight. But yeah, and you can see the parallels there in how you see how they're treating each other. I mean, it's gross, man. It's bluntly gross. Just
yeah.
I mean, using terms like break the WGA or let them bleed out, or wait them out until that they can't pay their rent, or losing things.
When I said from Variety, the piece about the federal mediator for actors was Variety. The part about the Writers Guild and being willing to wait them out was from Deadline, and that quote is and this came from allegedly a studio exec, according to Deadline. Quote, "The end game is to allow things to drag on until union members start losing their apartments and losing their houses." And that's what I had kind of said, this is a war of attrition. The average writer can't afford to be on strike for as long unless they're willing to go do, Jammer mentioned a lot of writers have side hustles. That's good. Side hustles aren't guaranteed. So unless they're willing to go get a more traditional long-term job during it, which then affects their ability to, I mean, everyone says they're not writing, but come on, who stops creating in private? You know what I'm saying? They're going to have things ready to go when the doors open up again. But that being said, and not all do that, but I'm sure many do. That being said, they are, man, a lot more writers are at risk of financial hardships, and that's part of what they're striking over is residuals and things related to streaming. The fact that you could put in all this work and think you're going to be getting a paycheck for a product you did, and then they take it off the streaming service, don't license it to anyone, and now you get nothing. So I get that there are legitimate, like I said, I am purposefully, because I have me personally, I have no friends or family that work with, belong to either side. Like, there's no Hollywood people in my family. I'm the closest thing there is. So I have no emotional investment in either side. You know what I'm saying? So I am purposefully trying to just state what I see, just like an observer, like a battlefield observer. I definitely can see legitimate concerns from the writers. On the other hand, and this is where it kind of gets a little spicy, I also see some things that studios think about when it comes to finances. I'll remind people that, Disney and Warner Brothers, two of the biggest studios out there, been running in the red for a minute trying to keep these streaming services afloat, and the amount of red that they are in couldn't be solved even if you took 100% of the C-suite pay from both. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's more to, everyone wants to think it's just a money situation, and it is a money situation, but it's not as simple as this group makes too much and this group makes too little, especially when your company is running a lot of stuff in the red. And that's on the studio side. Like I said, the big parent umbrella companies, of course, have additional sources of income and things like that. So whenever someone's just like, oh, well, cut the C-suite pay, it's like, it's not that easy. Could you cut the pay? Absolutely, you could, and they would still live relatively well. But it's not that simple of a solution. I don't know, man. It is pretty gross to actually just say the quiet part out loud, though. You know.
Well, I don't have a studio side in this. They can honestly go, rot. I'm 100% with the writers, with the actors. I do have friends who are on those picket lines, and honestly, it's not fair that they do it. They do a job that usually 100% are so passionate about. Because to them it's way more than just a show. It's something that they're creating. It's something that they're very proud of when they talk about. I always enjoy those conversations. So to really see them be treated this way, it's just it's outrageous. It's outrageous, and my wish would be, and this is very, very much wishful thinking, because I don't think it will happen this way, that the actors hold out, and one of the demands is you guys need to fix the things with the writers first before we talk to you guys. That would be some solidarity, wouldn't it? That would be some great solidarity, and I think that would be the only way to make this work, because I think if the actors get their, like, okay, they go to the picket line for a couple of weeks, great, but come August, maybe they're back on the table. They didn't really lose much. But
is there more, or membership wise, do you know off the top of your head, are there more actors in SAG-AFTRA than there are writers in WGA? Because here's my thinking. Similar. Oh, go ahead and answer. Sorry. I'm not sure. You're not sure. Okay. My thinking on it is, actors are going to be, the actors have a whole lot more. Yeah. They're going to be very similar as far as in structure of who can afford to be on strike for a long time. And I wonder about, like I said, the actor that's, been playing dude number 2 or girl number 1 or whatever for the last, 2 years, some commercials, they're working their way up. Maybe they just got some indie film deal. Maybe they just got a streaming pilot deal, things like that. Man, their wallets are going to get emptied a hell of a lot faster than, like I said, a Robert Downey Jr. or Margot Robbie, who has their whole career to live off of. It's very easy, and that's what's so interesting about union stuff in Hollywood. Unlike a union at a factory, right, where most of the people, except for things like management and of course executives, but most of the people are relatively equal. If the factory workers go on strike, they're all going to suffer relatively similar, right? Of course, you're going to have some that invested their money or their spouse works and whatnot, but in general, it's gonna be an equal amount of pain, right? Hollywood's not like that. You have people that are freaking 100 millionaires that belong to these guilds and stuff like that. Maybe not 100 millionaires, but tens of millionaires regardless, right? And then you have people that are just scraping by at the bottom trying to get up. And it's like, the millionaires could strike forever and feel like they're fighting the good fight, but you're going to have the bulk of the union saying, oh my God, we need to do something. And that's what the studio is banking on. They're banking on the body of that union being not able to sustain themselves long term. But the actors is a weird one. I'm really, because like you said, they could throw a lot of weight, but people got to eat, man. And I'm wondering what this will do to a lot of those you know young careers. I don't just mean young by the person's age. I mean young by the age of the career. Young careers, fledgling careers, maybe even just about to break out. Actually, had a few role careers. Like if this goes on a long time, how many of those people have to give up on their dream to go feed themselves or their family? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be weird this time. It's not like 08 at all.
But it's the millionaires that really matter though. To Hollywood. It's their appearances, it's their interviews, it's their junkets, it's their red carpets, it's their schedules that matter.
And they can hold out for a long time and potentially put some hurt on the studios.
But the studios can't afford to have them down and out for, like, it's funny because, like, yeah, I see what you're saying about the younger talent and potentially the background characters and things like that can't hold out. But the studios can't afford for the Robert Downey Jr.'s, the Brie Larson's, the Jennifer Lawrence's. They can't afford for them not to be working. They need that star power in order to legitimize them and to because sure, like 2023 is really in the books, right, as far as summer blockbusters goes. But you still have, you have your fall schedule and everything. Come 2024 though, when and the second half and then the beginning of 2025, you're gonna have these gaps again, these like post-pandemic gaps where you're gonna run into the same problem as you're doing post-pandemic, because you had this strike, you had this this entire gap of time where nobody was working, writers, actors, no one, and you're gonna find yourself in the same spot that you are now, and so that's it's a potential problem. So and honestly, if like the excuse that they need to cut spending and things like that, yes, this is true, but unfortunately this is one of those things that you can't cut, because you need at the end of the day you still need writers, you do need actors.
With AI. No, I'm joking, but that is also a point with the writers. Rightly so.
That's a big point. And I think that actors are also, because how many times are you going to keep using like older actors or
fake and CGI and
or bring in a less expensive a double and then use somebody else's face who's already died or something like that. Or just make a completely new character and just treat them as if they were live action. I hate that. If you're like the Lion King remake from Disney is not a live action film, and things like that. So I mean, I hope that they hold out. I hope that the studios suffer as much as possible, and I really hope the best for the people that actually make these studios run. Because
go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
The thing with the millionaires though is there's a lot less of them, even though they're very important. So at the end of the day, if the bulk of the union says, crap, man, we can't do it, gotta go back to work, then it doesn't matter if Robert Downey Jr. holds out or not, because they'll, the rest are going to vote to go back because they need the paycheck. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is not like 08. Not only did you, or 07 to 08, the last time the writer's strike, you also had the financial situations starting to happen, and a lot of factors played into 08 is pre-pandemic even. Like there's so many different variables, and that's why I've said from the get-go, this one here is a war of attrition, and the studios at the moment have the upper hand because they can continue to get plenty of revenue. But like you said, there's going to come a time where if in the next few months, if we don't get something settled and things back to working, then yeah, come late 24, 25, 26, you're going to see a lot more delays. Thank God for anime. And which is bad because their work conditions are awful from what we read and hear and is reported. So yeah, but at least I will be entertained. And that's another thing, Manny, that the studios have is they're all of them. Hulu was at AX. You know, Disney themselves were at AX. Sony, of course, has Crunchyroll and Funimation. Warner Brothers deals with anime. Everyone out there, Netflix, anime's not being stopped being produced. You know what I'm saying? There's new series all the time. Every season we're getting dozens of new series. So that's another revenue stream that the studios have access to. I'm really, like I said, just from a morbid numbers guy curiosity, I am very interested in this. And I'm enjoying again, I'm not happy about people suffering. I'm not happy about entertainment going away. I'm not happy about those things, but just purely, like I said, from the business side of things, I'm enjoying seeing how this is going. It is very interesting. I'm wondering if there could ever even be a movie about this particular strike, you know, like a Hollywood Insider thing in the future. I'm really curious as to how this is all gonna play out.
Nah, honestly, I doubt it because Hollywood would not want to vilify themselves.
It could be an indie film, man. Come on,
still needs to be backed by a studio
somewhere. Yeah, that's that. Hopefully things get settled and no one has to lose their apartment. No one has to worry about paying their rent, and they get to continue to pursue their dreams, and I get to continue to be entertained. So, I mean, that's the best outcome, right?
Yeah, sure. It's just gross, man. Yeah,
not disagreeing. But that is the tactic. I mean, that's what I would do if I were that way. It would be if I'm in the studio situation and they're like, what do we do? If I'm surveying it, I go, we can wait. I wouldn't say, oh, we can wait until they're hurting. I would just report to my superior, yeah, we can wait. It's not, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but that is what they can do. So, yeah, anyways, trailers. There was one that came out yesterday.
Actually, I think more importantly, we have DC casting news.
You want to talk about the casting news? I don't really care. All right, fine.
All right, that's fine. Let's do whatever trailer you want.
No, I was going to talk about Blue Beetle with you first. You seemed pretty excited about that, and you wrote about it. I mean,
I am super excited about Blue Beetle.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I think that it's not. I think that the summer fatigue of bad superhero movies from both DC and Marvel probably is going to hurt it.
I felt kind of similar. I was like, oh man, this movie's coming out at the wrong time, especially after The Flash.
So you have bad DC Marvel movies, and then you have this whole situation with the strike. So I mean, I'm glad that Jolo got to do a couple of things to promote it a bit, but yeah, it's a solid movie. Like, it's not like The Batman or anything. But as far as from what I've seen, as far as representation goes for a Latino household and how they treat each other, and just how close they all are, I love seeing that. I think that's a lot of time that's missing in how close people are with their families. Like seeing his I know it's more of a comedy bit, but seeing his Jaime's grandma or aunt. I'm not sure what she is in the
Old
piece
lady with the gun at
with
the
the
end.
gun.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
that's
like,
funny.
God rest her soul, my aunt, she would have totally done that. She would have totally tried. If I would have ever to become a superhero, she would still 100% try to protect me. And I think that was a big soft spot for me
Yeah.
because while it's a comedy bit, it's 100% real. And yeah, actually, most grandmas, regardless of culture, we're always gonna try to protect you. But I think it's a little bit more, um, a little bit better, a little bit more colorful in the Latino household. And then you have such great names that are part of, um, the who make up the film industry in Latinos, with Zolo, with George Lopez, with I know that Becky G is voicing Scarab. You have Harvey Guillen, who's doing such great stuff on What We Do in the Shadows.
Love that show.
Raul, I forgot his last name, Trujillo maybe, who's playing one of the bad guys. He's great. He's a really nice guy. I've had the pleasure of actually meeting a lot of these people in person and chatting with them. So it's nice. It's really cool to see them all together in one movie. And then also, like, it also brings in a lot. Hopefully what it does is it brings in a lot of younger fans, because you remember Jolo from
Cobra Kai,
which he did. I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
I think some spots had shitty writing.
Season 3.
Yeah,
Netflix messing with things, obviously changing things up dramatically.
Yeah, once Netflix gets hold of established series, it's a bad sign. It's a really
season
bad thing.
4 and 5 turned out okay though.
It got really. It's the same thing now at this point.
Yeah.
And once you get, and I think, well, we used to podcast about it. I think Christine also said this best. At one point, does it become weird that these adults' problems are affecting so many kids' lives?
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going down the wrong podcast here. Yeah, and then also them being smart enough to also add anime influences in kind of maybe Jaime's fighting styles and some of the things that he does.
Video game references, that Cloud Strife Final Fantasy VII sword he pulls out. Yep.
So I see it trying to reach really for that wide net of audience, but it's just a matter of, are we tired of it by then, or are we gonna get? Hopefully, my biggest wish is that it just gets to 50, 60 on a first weekend.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
So I think it'll do okay. It's not going to do the greatest, but
yeah,
the cool thing is that this character is going to at least live on to be part of other projects in the future.
We hope.
James Gunn will keep him. He won't necessarily have to have another movie.
Yeah,
but it's a good introduction.
He could pop up in some Young Justice type deal maybe in the future.
Oh my god, if they did Young Justice, oh man, so good.
My only fear with these two trailers is that it might skew a little bit more youthful than would appeal to me in general. It looks good, it looks fun. I love Jolo. I'm hoping that this is very much like a Shazam, at least a Shazam level enjoyment for me, if not better. It looks very Iron Man 1-ish, which is a good thing. Like I said, there's only that one thing where it's like, will it skew? Will the references? I think the Final Fantasy VII reference is a great one, showing that it might not be, like I said, skew too youthful for me. But that's like my one and only concern. That, and of course bad CGI, which I think with Hollywood today, I think they're just getting to where they're like, we don't care if it's bad anymore, and I don't like that. We'll see though. All the best of luck to Blue Beetle. So, the casting news. You are you excited or upset or what about the casting?
The only thing that I just don't know if that's really a good move is Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner. And I like Nathan Fillion. I think he's great. Yeah. I love him in a lot of stuff. And he's a fun person to be around. To be honest with you, he brings in a really fun energy in whatever
Captain
role
Hammer.
he's in. So I think that's my biggest thing. Is like, really, like, he's the one who you decided for Guy Gardner. Like, I think I wanted somebody a little bit more. I don't know if butch is the right word for it. A little bit more, kind of like a. Oh, what's the name of the bully from Back to the Future?
Thomas F. Wilson, Biff.
Yeah, Biff. Some like that kind of who's more of a bully, but then can come around a little bit later. I think that's what I wanted for a Guy Gardner. Now when I see Fillion as Guy Gardner, I think he's gonna be a goofier character than what it should be.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, James Gunn is just like Apatow or Smith in that he likes to put his friends in movies again and again and again.
Look, all directors like doing that. I hate that Gunn was always like spotlit for like, oh, he puts all his friends.
Yeah,
look at Christopher Nolan has the same damn people.
Puts
Cillian Murphy is in every movie that he's
I was
made.
gonna say the dude with the Irish name and the chick with the French name in every freaking movie. And I mentioned Smith. Yeah, I'm not digging at Gunn for doing it personally at all. I'm not. What I'm wondering is, do you think that this is how he normally casts Fillion, where we're going to get a bit part. It might not be a huge one. But here's my question. Do you think that this is the DCU's Green Lantern? Because I don't. I think we're still going to get others.
No, because it can't be. Because if he understands the characters at all, then obviously it's a Hal Jordan. Or I will take a John Stewart. I've always considered John Stewart to be my Green Lantern, just because I think Hal Jordan, I've always elevated him a little bit differently or categorized him a little bit differently as like Parallax and just kind of a different, somebody who's really out in space a little bit more than actually the protector.
Not Earth's Lantern anymore.
Earth's Lantern, the leader of, a lot of times the leader of the Justice League and everything is always been John Stewart. Plus, it doesn't help his case for me that John Stewart was the prominent Green Lantern in the Justice League animated series, which I love. So,
and that's what most people our age reference, if not the comics, then it is that animated Justice League and definitely
it would be
John
interesting.
Stewart.
It would be interesting if that's the John Stewart that they do. I'm sorry, if that's the Lantern that they do decide to be the main one, because I can see that part of Twitter, saying that they're taking away another one of our characters. But in this case, I think it's a little bit different. I do hope that they do add. You have there's a bunch of them. Kilowog's a really good one, especially if you're training to be a Lantern. Then there is the female one who I love and adore, and I cannot remember her name off the top of my head right now.
What about that Kyle guy?
Oh yeah, he's pretty important.
I hear
Rayner.
a lot of Rayner. I hear a lot of people actually like him, which is weird because most people hate Kyles.
A lot of time, they should be hated.
No, right? God awful people.
What was that? I was gonna say Jessica Cruz is the other one. I am a huge fan of Jessica Cruz, but she would need to come in. I would love to see her as a rookie, learning the ropes and things like that. I don't want to see her be a prominent piece just yet.
Hold on. You what? So you're telling me you expect Hollywood to put a female character up front that isn't just able to do it all? You expect them to show a female character in the 2020s having to learn?
Yeah. Well, the thing about her character and I completely see what you're saying. But the reason why is that Jessica Cruz's battle with herself and anxiety and her trauma is what makes her special. being able to overcome that is what in comics, when since she was introduced, is really what
Yeah.
makes her shine, and what makes her a hero, is being able to perform and being able to overcome anxiety attacks while in the middle of battle. Like, it's crazy to watch her to work, especially in some comics. They did such a great job with her. Joshua Williamson, I think it was. And I'm probably wrong because he usually does the Flash. There's another writer, and I can't remember, so I apologize. um she'll be in mid battle, like fighting off all these crazy bad guys, and a sentence will trigger her off, and she can no longer perform. But that's how it is. That's how panic attacks work. And to see a superhero do it, it makes it very grounded, despite it
Yeah.
being a space cop. And it's a great thing to see. Yeah, and Kyle Rayner usually is now known as a White Lantern anyway, which is like the whole spectrum, or ultraviolet. I don't know. They keep changing some of these colors sometimes, but um, yeah, I don't know. That's, I think, out of all of them, I'm happy that we keep getting a lot of names that are not necessarily household names, because it allows you to kind of lean into the character a little bit. Then
Like
Nathan,
Isabella Merced as Hot Girl, I don't recognize the name.
exact, yeah, I don't either. Um, and So overall, I'm okay with the casting, because it allows, like I said, allows us to lean into more of the characters. But the one that was weird is Nate. Like, he just, I don't know, he just sticks out. I think what they're gonna do, what it seems like, because he's a little bit older, he's been
Mhm.
around the block maybe, and he's kind of jaded by a lot of things,
Mhm.
and
See
all these
that?
other younger people. So we'll
I
see.
could see that. I think this shows us that we're not going to be getting uh, world building of the ground up. We're not going to see like how the MCU did it. The first quote unquote superhero Iron Man, and then slowly building in the pieces. It's very obvious that, like you said, there's going to be some people that have been around, done a few things. We still don't know how Wonder Woman's going to play into this. We know allegedly that the door's still open for Gal Gadot or Gadot. The Flash, I really don't know, guys. It seems very possible that that movie will lose well over $100 million for the studio. So even though they had said the door was open for Miller, I think that the internet proved that there was a substantial amount of people that didn't see the movie for that, because they were saying it, but social media is a bubble, so I'm not going to say it was a majority at all, but a number. Uh, and then, of course, people just not caring, because like I had pointed out months ago when I questioned, will people see this if it doesn't matter? And everyone, they'll go see it. They'll go see it. And there were, again, a large amount of people, not the majority, but a noticeable amount of people that were like, movie doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care. It doesn't matter. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, does Superman already know about Green Lanterns? Because we're into, it's a young Superman, you know what I'm saying? He's not a new Superman, he's just a young one. So I'm wondering how the world will feel. And I'm not against it. I don't necessarily need a ground up building for the universe, especially when you already know so many characters. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll see.
well, yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where Batman plays a role in this, because he's already have, when he's going to be introduced, he's going to already have
He's
been
going to be
established.
older. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's already got Damian.
he already has
So
Damian. Yeah, so he's well into his career. So I think, and this is a smart way to do it with anything with Superman, is his while you already have, like, the Flash has his like rogues and stuff like that,
mhm.
or Batman has his Joker, and villains like that. I think what ends up happening is Superman's arrival to Earth, Superman's unveiling, is what begins these bigger threats.
Yeah,
Kind of like the idea that if cops get semi-automatics, uh, um,
the
criminals
criminals.
get
Yeah,
automatics, and so and
yeah.
so and so and so. I think that
Our very existence invites challenge. Vision, what
yeah.
Vision says in Civil War, something like that.
I
Yeah.
think that's what happens is so like and I'm not sure this is the direction this movie's gonna go, but we've seen it before where uh Superman's around, so that obviously brings in like a Brainiac because he wants to collect him, or it brings in a Zod like we've seen a couple of times already because he wants to fight him, or it brings him Mongol because he wants him on his battle world, and so on and so on. And so because of Superman's presence, it brings in other elements from everywhere. It really awakens kind of that DC universe that is the world of comics, instead of just fighting just, I guess you can call it regular crime or smaller crime.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's honestly a very, very easy fix with the Flash. That's just use Wally West. have Barry Allen disappear for whatever reason. Just use Wally West. West, I have always been surprised at how many people say that is their Flash.
I will almost guarantee you the DCU will end up with Wally being their primary. I'd bet $100 on it right now. The primary DCU Flash will be Wally West, and that is not an open bet to anyone.
It's a good move.
Yeah. You ready to carry on to just one quick other trailer talk before we wrap up the show?
Sure.
I did want to mention Wonka. You seemed a little bit more positive on it than I was. My initial thoughts are kind of one, it feels very Wizarding Worldish, which I like the Harry Potter films. I did not care for Fantastic Beasts, and this kind of felt more Fantastic Beasts, less Harry Potter. That being said, there's one thing that this movie has against it that you can't help, and that's the comparison to Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, a movie that is, for all intents and purposes, lightning in a bottle in and of itself, with a performance that no one, not Timmy, not even Johnny Depp, no one can come close to what Gene Wilder delivered. And that's not a knock on the actors that are trying. Timmy here, Timothy Chalamet, whatever. I'm just jokingly with the Timmy thing. Timothy here can be the most talented actor in the world. It's not coming off right. When he does the strike that reverse it bit, it doesn't sound Wonka. It sounds like someone emulating Wonka. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, man. Between the Harry Potter or Wizarding World feel and the fact that, again, not through fault of their own, not that they're poor actors or poor writers, that it cannot compare to what came before, because it's, like I said, it's lightning in the bottle. The right writer, right director, right story, right actor. I'm not feeling this at all, man. How'd you feel about it?
It's because it's such a younger version of the character, of his origin. I expect there to be differences. I don't want him to try to emulate either of the Wonkas. I want him to be unsure of himself. I want him to be some variances in the way he delivers lines, because he's not that Willy Wonka yet. He's not that person. So I don't even take into consideration either of the films before, as far as his performance.
Most people will, though. That's what they're going to compare it to.
It's a younger version. Like, it's a younger version of the character. I'm not gonna penalize Timothée Chalamet for not being Gene Wilder or Johnny Depp.
But most people will.
Most people are stupid, to be honest with you. Generally, a person is smart. A group of people are not.
At Manny Gomez Media on Twitter, Emmanuel at LRM Online. No, I agree. People are dumb. Like I said, personally, I'm not feeling any Wonka-ness for it. It doesn't appeal to me
Well, yeah, like I
Will,
said, he's not that guy yet.
no,
That's where we're at.
I mean Wonka-ness. Period. It doesn't feel like a Wonka movie even. The whole thing, because of the Fantastic Beasts Wizarding World look and aesthetic, because of the acting, and because no matter what, like I said, I'm not trying to penalize him, but there is already a expectation. It doesn't matter. The expectation, just like Ghostbusters, I had an expectation for a Ghostbusters film, and if it didn't have the things that make Ghostbusters Ghostbusters, is it a Ghostbusters film? No. If a slasher film didn't have the things that make it a slasher film, is it a slasher film? No. But again, like I said, I hope it's good. I hope it does well, and it's not the fault of the writers, the directors, the actors. It's not any of their like fault. I'm not saying like the movie's trash or anything like that. I'm saying that every now and then we get these things that come out in pop culture that are so defining, for better or worse. It becomes the standard bearer. You look at Star Wars, the OT, for better or worse. When Lucas himself started making changes, people railed against Lucas, the creator, including me. You want to do what with Padme and stuff? You know, Leia's supposed to know her mom a bit. Same thing with this. For better or worse, Wonka killed it, man. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is a not just generation defining movie. It is a transgenerational, pan-generational, whatever word for across all the generations since it hit type film. It's an epic, and no matter what, people, general audience members, are going to compare to it, that you're not going to be able to separate enough. And like I said, that's for better or worse. I think it's one like Back to the Future. I hope to God it's never remade, requeled, rebooted, no more sequels, nothing. Never, ever touch Back to the Future again. Even if they did, it could be the most competent, well put together film. It will still automatically be compared to the original, and it will fail miserably.
I think the aesthetic is great. As a matter of fact,
you like that?
Oh, dude, when I first saw it, it was like a breath of fresh air, because my lasting impression of Willy Wonka, which honestly I have no problem with the Depp movie, because I love Tim Burton's style, and I love Johnny Depp. It was nice. It was nice to see it a little bit more grounded, a little bit gringier, a little bit more, more to the aesthetic of something that I think it would have looked like a little bit more. So it was nice to see it that way. I like that. That
looks
it looks
like early 20th century Europe.
Yeah, it looks a lot better. So, I'm pleased with it so far. I can't. I have to wait and see, because a trailer is only. I think my biggest gripe, I think the Oompa Loompa should have been a little bit bigger, and that was weird.
That was weird.
I don't know.
Hugh Grant in the jar was weird.
I don't mind it being Hugh Grant. I think that's funny. It's hilarious. But
casting's fine.
It needs to be a little bit bigger. I don't know if maybe the chocolate will make them bigger,
I don't know.
or if there's gonna be something. But if they're that tiny, I don't know. So
I don't know either. I do know. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. The only thing I can tell you though is I'm starting to fall off the Secret Invasion wagon.
Oh no, it happened.
This week's episode was
episode
so boring.
4. Oh god.
And then they had some action at the end, and by the time I got to the action, I could care less. It's happening, man.
Oh no. Oh no.
Just to give you a quick update, it's happening. That's all I'll say, because I don't want this to run long, but yeah.
Well, guys, you'll be able to find out more thoughts on Secret Invasion from Manny here on the Daily Cup of Genre, which you can watch on YouTube if you're watching us now, or if you're listening to us now, you can watch us instead. If you're watching us and you want to listen to us instead, all of our podcasts go up on your favorite podcast apps like Spotify, Amazon, and Apple, and more. Of course, on the YouTube channel, you also get the anime reactions and trailer reactions, and of course, all the written articles, as well as write-ups for the podcast and celebrity interviews from the LRM YouTube channel go up on lrmonline.com. So be sure to check that out every day. Manny, anything else for the people out there?
If you're on the West Coast, hydrate. If you're on the East Coast, watch out for the flooding water.
Stay dry.
Stay dry. Yeah. So yeah. And if you're in Florida, what the hell is going on with your water? 98 degrees oceans? Are you kidding me?
Off in the water. Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways. All right, guys. Stay safe. Have a good one. Bye.